So this past Saturday night was Tisha B'Av, and I took a flight from New York to Johannesburg, South Africa. My sister and brother-in-law, the Stearns, Rabbi and Rebbetzin Stern of Siddim Synagogue, had twins. So I flew to South Africa. Now my flight was from JFK to Doha, which is Qatar. Flew Qatar Airlines, by the way, wonderful airline, wow. And then from Doha, I had a 6-hour stopover and landed in Johannesburg 10 a.m. on Monday morning, and I made the bris. But here's the thing, ideally you're not allowed to fly on Tisha B'Av, and because I am biased, I didn't want to paskin, I didn't want to say the law for myself, so I asked a fellow rabbi and I asked him, what do you think, can I fly on Tisha B'Av? And when I explained the circumstances that I tried to book a flight for Wednesday night, a direct flight, but I wasn't able to, he said, since it's a mitzvah, honoring your parents and a bris, double bris, of course you can fly Tisha B'Av. So the fast in New York is like a heat wave. It's hard. It's tough to fast. I left 1 a.m. So I went to the airport. At 1 a.m. we flew west. Now there's a great app. It's called In Zmanim Flight. You can check the flight. You can know exactly what time it is on the flight. You log in, put in the flight details, and they'll tell you when you can pray the Shacharit prayer, when it's dawn, when it's Mincha, when it's Ma'ariv, when the fast ends, when it's nightfall, because when you're flying, you have no idea what's going on. So I checked the app, they sent me an email, and I had the whole thing loaded down. If the flight leaves 1 a.m., here's the times. Flight leaves 1:10, here are the times. 1:30 a.m., here are the times. So as I'm flying west, it's 7 hours ahead in Doha, and it turns out that when my phone told me it's 12 p.m. New York time, it was 7 p.m. local time. I was still mid-flight, and according to my in-flight Zmanim, that's it, the fast was over. Tisha B'Av was over, which meant that instead of having to fast 25 hours in the brutal heat, I now was only fasting, 16 hours, 15 hours even, more or less. And it was, the weather, in fact, the flight doesn't matter, but the weather was milder, much, much colder, of course, over there. In Doha itself, the fast ended 6 p.m., but because we were 2 hours still from Doha, it was 7 p.m. that the fast ended. So I had a headache. And even though a fast is 16 hours, I guess to travel, I had a headache, so I really wanted to break my fast, but I felt guilty. I said, my kids, my 16-year-old and my 14-year-old kids are fasting the full fast. My poor wife is with all the kids at home. They all fasting. And me, I'm going to break the fast when it's 12 p.m. by them. So I was debating back and forth, and by 12:45, I ordered a beer from the stewardess. I asked for a beer, which, you need to make Havdalah on whiskey, but I figured on wine. I didn't have kosher wine. Whiskey would be kosher, but at 30,000 feet and an empty stomach, I thought that would knock me out. So I made Havdalah on beer, and I broke my fast. And I thought about it. Yes, do I feel guilty? Yes, but the law is the law. Hashem writes in his Torah, in his wisdom, that even though you feel guilty, since the time now you flew west and the fast was shortened by 9 hours, the fast is over. It's Tisha B'Av. There's no reason to fast more than that. Hashem put in his Torah that you go according to when the fast, where you are, that's when the fast is over. So even though I felt guilty, it's still, I nullified my own guilty feelings in front of Hashem, and I said, no, this is it. And in life, this is how it is. You see, this week we read the 10 Commandments in Shul. The first commandment, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God. When the Jewish people received the Torah, the first thing they said was Naaseh v'nishma. A Jew first says, I will do, and only after he says, I will do, he says, Nishma, I will hear, I will understand. Whether we understand or whether we don't understand Hashem's commandments, we do them. It doesn't make a difference. You understand them? Good. You don't understand them? Great. You still do it. Hashem's wisdom is infinite. He understands much better than us. So commandments like do not steal, do not murder, yes, we understand why we don't do that. But even things that we don't understand, even things that are difficult for us, sometimes it's very, very, very difficult. Why do I have to keep kosher? The non-kosher food is much, much cheaper. Why should I spend money on kosher food? Why do I have to keep Shabbat? It doesn't make any sense. Why do I have to give so much charity? Let the other person work. It makes no sense. I still do it. Why? Because God commanded me in his Torah. So whether I like it or whether I don't like it, in this case I actually liked it, I listen to God. And that is the lesson from the 10 Commandments. Nullify your own wisdom in front of Hashem and do whatever he wants. Good Shabbos.